Dr. Keller asked me again today why I kept circling back to the mug. I told her it wasn't about ceramic or cracks. It was about the silence that followed. We bought that chipped coffee mug at a yard sale, secondhand, 10 cents. She laughed when she saw it, said it looked like something my grandfather would drink from. I kept it because it fit my hand like an anchor. It sat on the kitchen counter the morning she told me she wasn't coming with me. 6 hours from the city? To that dull town? For a 9-to-5 job? No, Daniel. I can't shrink my life just because you want safety. Her voice was sharp, clipped like she was cutting a string. I remember nodding. Just nodding. Saying, I understand. But in truth I didn't. Or maybe I did and I didn't like the answer. That night, after she slammed the cupboard doors and left the mug in the sink with cold coffee, I stared at the ring it left. The circle was uneven, like a broken promise stamped onto porcelain. I packed quietly. Took only what fit in my hatchback. She thought it was a bluff. Thought I would beg. Instead, I drove 6 hours through rain. The wipers beat a rhythm against the glass, like the sound of her sentence repeating, I'm not moving for your dull job. When I arrived in that dull town, the promotion letter was waiting. $600,000 a year. Stock options. Health benefits. A house allowance. All for showing up, steady, dependable. Boring, she would have said. The irony is, I didn't take the job for money. I took it because they noticed me when she didn't. They wanted me when she didn't. And maybe I wanted to see if silence could speak louder than arguments. I still remember unpacking alone, the mug balanced on top of a box of records I hadn't played since my band broke up. I put it on the counter of the new apartment. A reminder. A scar. A witness. Dr. Keller says I keep circling back because the mug is safer than the truth. That maybe I'm not angry at her but at myself, for letting her words feel heavier than my own future. She might be right. But then again, when my phone lit up with her first message months later, the mug was right there, catching the glow of the screen. The first message came on a Thursday night. It was short. Almost careless. Hey, just checking in. How's the new place? I stared at the screen, the glow bouncing off the mug's cracked rim. She hadn't asked about me when I left. Not once. No calls, no visits. Just silence that matched the empty passenger seat of my car. And now, curiosity disguised as kindness. I didn't reply. Instead, I scrolled back through our last conversation, her words standing like a wall. I'm not moving to that dull town for your 9-to-5 job. My reply, soft and flat, I understand. The truth? I hadn't understood. Not until I saw the first paycheck. Numbers that could have rebuilt every broken guitar string I'd ever snapped. Numbers that could have carried us both anywhere. But I didn't send her a photo of it. Not yet. By Sunday, her tone shifted. Miss you. Can we talk? I left it on read. The mug caught another ring of coffee, darker this time. A ritual forming. Sip, silence, screen. Then came the third message. Longer. Nervous. I've been thinking, maybe I was too harsh. Maybe we could figure it out. That job sounds stable, good for us, right? The words stable and good felt like she was describing a chair, not me. Still, I copied the message, pasted it into a blank document, and saved it. Not because I wanted to keep it, but because I wanted to remember the shift. How quickly certainty melts when money enters the room. The mug sat between me and the phone, a referee in a game I wasn't playing. I didn't answer. Silence had become my language. Dr. Keller leaned forward when I told her about the third message. She asked, and what did you feel? I wanted to say anger. But it wasn't anger. It was a quiet satisfaction, the kind you don't admit to because it makes you sound cruel. By the time her fourth message arrived, the pattern was obvious. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to dismiss you. I was scared of leaving my friends, that's all. Maybe I panicked. She always had a way of rewriting history. Turning choices into mistakes, mistakes into excuses. The coffee mug clinked against the counter when I set it down too hard. The crack widened just a hair, like her apology, brittle at the edges. I didn't reply. I let the hours turn into days. And each day the text grew longer, more elaborate. She mentioned memories. Remember our trip to the lake? Remember how we said nothing could break us? The irony was bitter, almost funny. The same silence she feared in that town had now swallowed her. Dr. Keller said withholding is still a kind of answer. That silence can be louder than cruelty. I told her it wasn't silence. It was language, my first fluent one. The truth was simpler. I wanted her to sit in the dullness she mocked. To taste the quiet she couldn't bear. I left the mug on the counter each night, unwashed. Watching the rings stack up. A diary only I could read. And when her fifth message came, Please, Daniel, just one call. I need to hear your voice. I almost broke. Almost. But almost has never been enough. I broke my silence once. Not with words but with sound. Her name lit up my phone one Friday evening. I let it ring. The mug was warm in my hand, steam curling like questions I didn't want to answer. I didn't pick up, but I pressed play on the voicemail later. Her voice was softer than I remembered. Not sharp, not dismissive. Almost trembling. Daniel, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have said what I did. I didn't mean it. I couldn't picture life outside the city. But I miss you. I miss us. Please call me back. The words please and miss echoed long after the message ended. I replayed it 3 times. Not because I wanted her back but because I wanted to study it. Like a musician dissecting notes in a song. What struck me most wasn't what she said but what she didn't. No mention of love. No admission of the choice she made. Just fear of being left behind. That weekend, another envelope arrived from the company. My first performance bonus. 5 figures. For doing work she thought was beneath me. I placed the unopened envelope under the mug, let it absorb the faint stain of coffee through paper. A mark she'd never see. Dr. Keller says I'm obsessing. That keeping the mug, the messages, the envelope, it's my way of holding on, not letting go. Maybe she's right. But I don't think so. Because every time the phone buzzed with her number, I felt less of the old ache. More distance. More clarity. By the time Monday came, I wasn't listening for apologies anymore. I was listening for the silence after them. By the 5th week, her messages no longer sounded like apologies. They sounded like contracts. We could make it work long distance for now. I could visit on weekends. Maybe I could find a remote job, move later. You don't want to throw away 3 years over one mistake, do you? She had stopped saying, I miss you. Now it was we, work, compromise. A language of bargaining. I read them all with the same stillness I once used tuning my guitar. Tightening strings, listening for tension. Too much pull and something snaps. One night I wrote a reply. Just 2 words, I understand. The same words I had given her before I left. I typed them, stared, and deleted them. Sending them would have been mercy. And I didn't want to give her that. Instead, I took a walk through town. The streets were quiet, lamplight soft against brick walls. The kind of dullness she had mocked, yet here it felt like peace. I passed a diner where the waitress already knew my order. Black coffee, eggs over easy. Routine. Predictable. Steady. Exactly what she had feared, and exactly what I had grown into. Dr. Keller asked me why I didn't just block her. And it clean. I told her blocking was too final, too loud. Silence was slower, sharper. Like watching ice crack across a lake. She nodded, wrote something down. The mug sat waiting when I came home, its crack catching the lamplight. Her latest message blinked on the screen. Daniel, don't let money change you. Don't let it make you cold. But she was too late. The cold had started long before the money. I knew she would come eventually. It was only a matter of when. A knock rattled my apartment door on a gray Saturday afternoon. Rain streaked the window. I didn't check the peephole. I already knew. When I opened it, she stood there, hair damp from the weather, eyes too bright as if she had rehearsed them in the mirror. She smiled the same smile she used when she wanted me to forget an argument. Daniel, she said softly, I needed to see you. To explain. Behind her, the parking lot shimmered with puddles. She looked out of place like a painting hung on the wrong wall. I didn't invite her in. Just leaned against the frame, mug in hand. The crack ran down its side like a quiet scar. She spoke quickly, words tumbling. How lonely she'd been, how wrong she was, how love meant compromise. Then finally the truth slipped through. And I didn't realize how much that job actually meant. $600,000 a year, Daniel? I had no idea. Her eyes searched mine, waiting for recognition. Waiting for me to soften. I didn't. I only raised the mug slightly, sipping. The steam rose between us, a wall she couldn't cross. Come inside, she urged. Let's talk. We can fix this. The rain hammered harder against the railing. I let silence stretch so long it became its own answer. Then I stepped back, not to invite her, but to close the door. Her voice followed me through the wood. Please, don't do this. I set the mug on the counter, listening to the echo fade. The crack looked wider now. But it was holding. Just like me. Dr. Keller asked me today if I felt guilty. I laughed quietly. Not because it was funny, but because guilt had been replaced with something colder. After the visit, her messages changed tone again. No more bargaining. No more soft apologies. Now they came raw, scattered at odd hours. Why are you ignoring me? You don't even care, do you? I gave you everything. How can you throw me away so easily? Each one read like a scream pressed into glass. My phone lit up in the dark like a flare. I didn't reply. Then came the long ones, paragraphs pouring out memories, future plans, even sudden declarations of love. We could still get married, Daniel. We could make a family. Money doesn't matter. I love you, I always did. But every sentence circled the same shadow. She hadn't wanted me until she realized what I had. Until she realized boring could build a fortress she wanted inside of. The mug sat on the table during each reading, a silent judge. Its crack caught crumbs of light, like truth refusing to be smoothed over. One night at 2 a.m. she wrote, "You think you're better than me now. You think the money makes you untouchable. But I know you, Daniel. You'll get tired of the silence. You'll come back." I read it twice. For the first time I felt nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction. Just distance, wide and irreversible. Dr. Keller leaned back when I told her. "So what do you want from all this silence?" she asked. I thought about it, then said, "Peace?" And peace was the one thing she could never give. It arrived on a Sunday morning. Short. Almost weightless. "Goodbye, Daniel. I hope you find what you're looking for." No apologies this time. No bargaining. Just an ending stitched into a sentence. I read it once, then again, letting the quiet sink in. The mug was on the counter, filled halfway with coffee gone cold. Its crack caught the morning light like a thin scar that never quite heals. I traced it with my finger, thinking of all the circles of silence stacked inside that cup. Rings of days, weeks, months. I didn't reply. Not because I wanted her to hurt, but because I had nothing left to give her. Silence had been my answer all along, and it would be my last. Instead I stepped outside. The town was still, air sharp with the smell of rain from the night before. A place she once called dull, but to me it had become steady, honest. My neighbors waved as I passed. The barista at the corner cafe already started my order when she saw me through the glass. Black coffee, no sugar. Routine. Simple. Mine. Dr. Keller says closure is never real. That endings are just pauses in longer stories. Maybe she's right. But when I left the cafe with the mug warming my hand, I felt lighter. Her messages would remain stacked in my phone like unsent letters. But they belonged to another life, another version of me who waited for someone else's approval. Now the silence belonged to me. And that's the last time anyone called me boring.